Are you ready for May's new moon cycle? It's going to be impressive. Stay tuned to get all the details. I'm Stacey, the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to New Moon Musings for the new moon cycle starting on May 7th in the Northern Hemisphere and May 8th in the Southern Hemisphere. And I'm so excited to be tuning in for you guys to give you the pulse on what we need to know about this new moon cycle. And for those of you who are used to my spiel and you watch this all the time, click on the link below, the timestamp below, to get to the intro. And for those of you who are new, stay tuned for a 1-minute clip on how you can make this reading work for you throughout the entire month. See you on the flip side. For those of you who are new to me, here's a quick little breakdown on how to make this reading work for you. The new moon cycle works where it moves in 3.5 basically days throughout that 28-day cycle. So sometimes you're in a phase a little bit longer or a little bit shorter. It is not linear. But what I do is I give you dates connected to each of the phases of the new moon cycle so that you can come back to the video after you've watched the whole thing, you've taken it all in, you come back to that video for those particular times so that you understand, okay, I'm in, the waxing crescent phase, and what do I need to know about that? What is transpiring in my world right now? And this information is really helpful because it's giving me perspective on what it is I need to learn, or maybe I need to pull back, or maybe I need to lean in a little bit more. So use this. It's kind of like the gift that keeps on giving. Use it throughout the month to support you. So this new moon in May is actually happening on May 7th at 11:23 p.m. Eastern Standard and May 8th at 3:22 UTC. So 3:22 a.m. UTC. And this is very exciting because what does this bring us into? This brings us into that Taurus energy. We are in Taurus, and eventually we're going to, sorry for the earthquake, that's Mr. Neo making his presence known. And we are moving into Gemini throughout this new moon cycle. So there's a lot that's happening and a lot that's going on. I cannot wait to tap in. So for today's reading, we are going to pull cards from a new deck that I've recently started working with, and it is called the Tridavia Tarot deck and guidebook, and it's based on the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot, and it's kind of holographic. It's shiny and pretty and funky and all of those things. And then for sort of our 4 quarters of the new moon cycle, we're going to pull an affirmation for each one, and we're of course going to get a little sassy with our sweet ass affirmations from Rage Create. So let's get started and see what this new moon has for us. And the first card that I'm going to pull is a release card. And this is a release card to let us know what exactly we are releasing from the previous cycle. And oh, interesting, we've got 6 of Wands. So feeling like what we're releasing from this previous cycle, this card is typically a card of victory. But when you're looking at it on the other side of victory, there's this sense of defeat, or there's the sense of, I've won something, but now it's even more cost if I lose it, right? So it's kind of like, don't rest on your laurels. What more do you need to do? It's kind of like, be careful what you wish for. You might win, but now you've got an extra amount of work to maintain what it is that you've won. So I feel like we are releasing this energy and this particular idea that that we have to hang on so tightly to something that we are gaining. Also, I feel like letting go of this concept of working harder, not smarter. So with the 6 energy, 6 is about harmony, balance, and alignment. And the Wands energy is the fire, the passion, the spirit, the soul connection. And for us right now, I feel like what we've come out of has been a stirring of the soul. There's been a lot that's been coming up through that Aries season, and how we're sort of expressing that, exploring that, moving through all of that energy. So tapping into the Six of Wands here, what we're releasing now is all of the busy work, and we're getting a little more focused on being intentional, being clear and concise and focused and direct, which I think is ironic because I always joke that brevity is not my strong suit. It takes me 5 million years to make a point. So that's a huge one for me, to learn how to get into that space of just being direct, letting go of all of the other stuff. All right, so we have our soul card. And I love pulling the soul card for this particular reading because the soul card gives us an overview of where we're at in the collective. You know, we are all learning things on an individual level. You know, what is your soul here to explore and how does it want to grow? And we're also here, you know, our actions, our choices, it's the pebble in the pond and the ripple effect. Our individual choices affect the collective at large. And so what is the collective learning during this particular new moon cycle? Ooh, so our soul card for the month is 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups is beautiful because it is really an evaluation of everything that you've arrived at. The 10 of Cups symbolizes that you have created a goal that is heart-based, heart-connected, and you've achieved it. You've gone through the process, you've gone through the steps of what is required. And now based on what you've achieved, you want to be looking at what's next. So the evaluation comes from the place of what worked, what did it take me to get here, what worked, what didn't. And now having all of this beautiful abundance, what do I want to take with me? What do I want to keep in reserve, maybe for a rainy day? What do I need to squirrel away? What do I need to reinvest? And what can I use in terms of that give and take and that reciprocity of the give and receive of the universe? You know, it doesn't work if we're only one way. So if we're always receiving and never giving, that's not being in healthy flow. And if we're always giving and never receiving, that's not in healthy flow. So the 10 of Cups is inviting us this particular new moon cycle to really explore and evaluate what has worked, celebrate what is right now. What can we use? What can we celebrate? And what's coming ahead? And how can we prepare for that on a heart level? And I want to say on an energetic level. Now, usually when I talk energetics, I'm talking about wands. Cups is really heart and it's psychic, the psychic realm. But I'm hearing here that we are talking about sort of heart and soul levels, and we are talking about the energetics of things. And the energetics is very connected to that psychic energy. So this is a month where collectively, humanity is going to have some more aha moments, some more awareness moments around the energy that is occurring. And I'm hearing that this is going to happen not only for those who are already open to the energies of the world, but also those who maybe never experienced energy in a obvious way before, or with a lot of awareness of what it is. So I want to say there's going to be a little more awakening collectively. You may notice a lot of people who, you know, maybe never really wanted to get into your woo-woo stuff, now suddenly on the sly asking you some questions about, you know, how did you get into that? Or have you ever had a dream that, you know, kind of made you feel weird and it, you know, came true? So don't be surprised if you've got some people in this cycle that reach out to you because they're curious about what's happening, what's to come, about the energies. So, all right, we are going to move into our new moon card. And our new moon card is happening on May 7th. And it's May 7th at 11:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3:22 a.m. UTC on the 8th. And this phase is going to last for about, 3 days-ish. So 7th to the 10th. And this phase is I manifest. So the new moon is a really great time to manifest, not only for this next cycle for you, this next, 28 days, but also looking into and evaluating the manifestations of those wider goals and those larger goals that you have. Oh, beautiful. We've got the star card. So the star card is about vision. And I'm also hearing on a traditional level, this card is also read as the health card. And so when we're talking about this, I manifest and what energies are here to support my manifesting, how can I lean into their wisdom? The star card is saying, imagine, open up your mind. It's about mental health. And I'm feeling that it's like an intention to focus on your mental health. If you're always in the monkey mind, if you're always thinking, overthinking, planning, constantly in your head about things, where is your heart at? Where's your soul at in that? It's not able to have a voice, right? I always say the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And oftentimes that's the ego voice, the fear that's nitter-nattering at us. The star card says, let's focus on your mental health from the perspective of bringing back daydreaming. How many of us, now I'm going to give away my age here a little bit, but how many of us at school used to get in trouble for staring out the window and daydreaming, sort of getting lost in thought? I'm sure it happened for a lot of people, and we would get in trouble for it. And actually, I want to say, that should have been celebrated. That should have been applauded, because the star, that visioning, is all about the intuition, receiving those inspirations and then playing around with that idea to say, what are the possibilities? How could that actually become? And in this particular depiction, I love it because it's almost like she's bowing to the elements. She's standing on, beachfront or whatever. She's standing on land. She's got one knee on land and she's got one foot in the water. Now, here she's sort of bowing to it because she's pouring water into it. This is her knowledge, her wisdom that she's gained from the earth time, the manifested time, the tangible time, and she's pouring it back into the water, into the mystical, into the psychic realm. I also love her hair flying all over the place because it really brings in that element of the air. The air moves the hair around, and the air is the thoughts and the receiving of that intuition. So the star card is really saying, let's do a real cleanse of our mental space and our mental energy, because when we put an intention around being healthy and around self-care with our mental energy and that space and that place, that's where the intuition really comes through, and that's where you are completely connected to source. This right here, our crown chakra, is our direct connection to source. When this is crowded and this is crowded, we don't receive as clearly. So the star card says, in this new moon energy, let's start it off right by giving ourselves permission to daydream, to vision out the possibilities, even if you have no idea how it can become. It's just so fantastical that it's out there. I mean, that's what science fiction is. Science fiction, 50 years ago, a lot of it is now science fact, right? So envision out and see what can become. I feel like there's going to be a lot of energy in this new moon for innovation, for a lot of people coming in with crazy, bizarre ideas that actually can work when you really start to think about the possibilities. I also just heard collaboration. So I feel that for a portion of us, not all of us, but a portion of us, this is going to resonate, that there are going to be some really powerful collaborations around this time and this energy. And a lot of it has to do with everyone being in that it's mentally clear. And because it's mentally clear, that divine guidance can flow through you. The energy conduit is wide open. And this we like. Okay, so we're going to pull an affirmation card for this new moon. I manifest. So what is our affirmation that we can focus on as we are manifesting away, we've got, I love me just the way I am. I love you just the way you are. So really feeling here that the best way to be in that star energy and to allow yourself the ability to daydream is to be in the frequency of love. One of the ways to get into the frequency of love is true acceptance of what is. And I love that there is a butterfly, or actually there are two butterflies. There's one that I want to say is sort of that solid color, kind of a traditional butterfly. And then you've got one that's, got all of its, design and really showing their stuff and fluffing their wings, so to speak. And so you've got the contrast here. And, this butterfly loves themselves the way that they are and loves this one the way that they are, and vice versa. So I feel like that's going to help us with that dreaming. When we judge, we limit ourselves. We limit the possibilities and the potentials. So the new moon is saying, let's let go of judgment and let's step into what can be if we choose to explore it and allow it to flow into our lives. All right, so now we've got our Waxing Crescent card. The Waxing Crescent is happening May 11th to the 14th. And the mantra around this is I plan. So we've just manifested and now we're planning. This is going to be a great month already. So we already had the start. We had a 10, which is new beginnings based on that already established foundation. We've got a major arcana star, and now we've got a major arcana the world. So when we're talking about I plan, the world really represents coming full circle. It represents this idea that I have all of the resources. I've come to the end of the line, kind of like that 10 of cups. I've arrived at what I attempted to achieve. I was successful at it. There was victory, which is interesting. We had that 6 of Wands as well as that victory card. So what the world is saying now is, okay, you got all this stuff. What are you going to do with it? I always like to say wisdom is a nothing burger unless it's applied. It's not going to help you unless it's applied. And so the world card, I feel, is coming through at this time to say, yeah, let's evaluate everything that you have just been through. You've come through. What have you learned from it? What are you letting go of? What are you taking with you as you move forward? And what is new that you are getting ready to birth? Let go of the self-doubt and this idea that I don't have enough, or I haven't learned enough. I don't have all of my I's dotted and T's crossed. The world says, yeah, you do. And you're overthinking. Be in that space of all four corners here, have all of the different elements represented. And you are in this wreath of protection, this wreath of growth. You're standing there with this beautiful wand. You've got all of these birds and butterflies all over you. You are the epitome of transformation. So during this particular period of time, I feel like the message is when you're planning, go big, because you've got the ability to do it. And even if in your physical reality, you're looking at it, and I mean, the big thing for a lot of us is, well, I'd love to do this, but I don't have the money. So if that's, just to use this as the analogy, if that's where you're at, I want you to skip the part about the not having the money, and I want you to skip the part of how you're getting the money, and I want you to go right to the space of, I have the money and I've done the thing, and wow, this is amazing. Wow, what can I do next? So I want you to really feel into that energy, because the world, when we break down this number, it's a 21, it's a 3, and 3 is creation. And we can talk about co-creation. Well, when you're planning something that you've manifested, you're in that co-creative flow. So this is embracing that co-creative flow and saying yes to it. I'm also feeling that on a global level, from an economic perspective, there's going to be some kind of announcement made where it's kind of like it trickles in, and it's the idea of maybe a new system or a new way of approaching finance, money, things of that nature. And I feel like, as with anything, it's going to get poo-pooed and there are going to be a lot of naysayers around it. But I want to say, watch, because it's seeds being planted. And just be open to those seeds. Not every seed grows, because not every seed is nurtured. But maybe it's a seed that you might like to nurture. So consider what you'd like to nurture during this time as well. All right, now we are at our first quarter card, and the first quarter is happening May 15th to the 18th. And this affirmation is I act. What energy fuels my motivation, right? So I've manifested, I'm planning, and now I'm enacting that plan. Ooh, King of Wands. Okay, so there's a lot of decisive, clarifying, I guess is a better word to use, information for you when you are stepping in, making your choices, making your decisions, moving forward, moving ahead with what is being presented to you. King of Swords is very thoughtful. King of Swords has already done all of the work in the planning. He doesn't worry about, and it's non-gender, but I'm just going to say he, they, he, doesn't really worry about whether or not something's going to work out. The plan has already been well thought out, discussed, and committed to. So there's no room now for what if this and what if that. King of Swords says, we're not wasting the energy on the what ifs because we've already put the investment, the time, and the effort into establishing the healthy plan. So during this particular period of time, that action I feel needs to be for you decisive action. Don't overthink, don't self-doubt. And I want to say this is going to be a really good window of time to go with your first instinct. So that doesn't always work in certain circumstances, but in this case, with the energies around these days, I feel like you want to go with your first instinct or your first answer. You know, it's like when someone gives you rapid fire questions and it's a word association. Whatever the word is that comes out, you want to go with that. You know, whether it makes sense or not, that's what you want to throw out. That's what this King of Swords is coming through to support you in, is in learning to trust more of the intuition, what's already inside. We talked about, I think in the star, it was like wisdom is a nothing burger unless you're applying it. King of Swords is giving you the opportunity during these days to say, trust what is already within you. Trust that everything that you've absorbed is going to, or downloaded, is going to present itself in a way that you need when you need it. It's kind of like it's already cataloged in there. And it's going to pop up just in the way, in the space that you need it. So I feel like there's almost a message like the King of Swords is saying, listen, I got your back. You know, whatever decision you make, it's not going to be the wrong decision. Just go ahead and step into that energy because it's going to be worth your while. So don't be afraid to be decisive. And for those of you who struggle with that, you know, you're worried about making the wrong choice. The King of Swords energy says there is no wrong choice here. It is choose a path and commit to it and watch the universe flow in with everything that you could need to make that happen for your highest and best. I'm also seeing that there's some kind of global gathering or a global conference or something. I've been on a news hiatus for probably 4 years now, so I don't really know what's going on in the world. Maybe you're looking at this and hearing this and going, duh, you know, it's this or that, or, you know, the other thing. I just don't know what it is, but I'm feeling there's something global, a gathering of sorts, and there is going to be a different approach. You know, whatever this conference is or what's being discussed is a different approach. And I feel like we all can energetically connect to that and choose to support whatever comes up. So be prepared to step in and support either for or against whatever this new approach is. You know, follow your conscience, follow your heart, but there will be a new approach to something. And it's important for all of us to really connect energetically to what that is, because what we connect with energetically makes a difference in the collective. And if we're working towards that 10 of Cups, it is a new beginning based on an already established foundation. We have the things that we need, and we're all one. We're all together. We can all benefit from it. Here is our affirmation for this first quarter. My creative babies protect the galaxy from fear. And I love that it's got a feather on it. So This is actually very pertinent to what the King of Swords message was. My creative babies protect the galaxy from fear. Basically saying, give birth to whatever is going on in your heart. Give birth to those new ideas, because the galaxy is protecting you from fear. The creative imagery, the creative thoughts are actually our protection from fear. And quite frankly, fear right now is staying the same. There will be more fear generated by us not moving, making a difference, making changes, than there will be in doing something new, walking a different path. Even if you're walking it in the dark and you don't have a flashlight, it's still going to be less fearful than what's going to transpire if we focus on what has already been. So that feels really big. Use those creative babies to fan the flames of change, because that's where we're really going to grow. All right, we've got our Waxing Gibbous card now, and this is I Choose. And the Waxing Gibbous is happening May 19th through the 22nd. So happy birthday, Geminis. We are now shifting out of that Taurus energy and into the Gemini. So we're going from an earth sign, which is, a little more stable, doesn't want a lot of change, likes the sensuality of things. And we're moving into Gemini, the talkers, the communicators, the creative flow, the writers, the dreamers. So this is definitely, I want to say, flowing in with these cards. So here's our card, 8 of Pentacles. Okay, so 8 of Pentacles is really an invitation, a call to action right now around details, paying attention to the details, falling in love with the work or the steps that you have chosen to take in order to get to your goal. So I'm going to say to you, and I'm going to kind of back up a little bit, any decisions that you do make, you kind of want to make from your heart space, because this card is saying whatever you've committed to, we're going full speed ahead. So if it's something that you're doing because somebody else wants you to do it, it might not be as pleasant and enjoyable as an experience as if you're choosing something that you're invested in, that your heart is in, that you are lit up with passion about. Because the 8 of Pentacles is like, listen, there's a lot of hard work here. And you are going to be put to the test in terms of that work. There's duration. There's what's the word I'm looking for? Like not determination. You need to really be prepared to be all in it. That's kind of what it's about. But it can be enjoyable. This card always, a Virgo card. It always reminds me of kind of the way I'm wired. The way that I connect is when I am doing this kind of thing, when I'm tuning in for others, when I am in service in that way, and I see the big light bulb moment, for someone based on whatever information just came through. It's work for me. It's effort for me. It's not always, I want to say, sunshine and daisies, wine and roses, but there's so much enjoyment and fulfillment out of it that I can push myself to do one more. I can do one more. I can do one more, because it's not really work. It's fun, right? So that's what the 8 of Pentacles is promising. So whatever commitments you're making, make sure they're commitments that you can get behind, that you can really dive on into, sink your teeth into, and that is something that really brings you a lot of enjoyment. Because if you don't, that 8 of Pentacles period of time is going to feel like work. It is going to be drudgery at times. Not all of it, but some of it is going to be drudgery. So I feel like this is also an invitation for all of you to really kind of evaluate, what am I actually saying yes to? Am I saying yes to something because I really want to do it? Or am I saying yes to it because I feel obligated to do it? Or because I'm feeling like I have no other choice? Whenever we're in that space, we're in victim mode. So just a little spoiler alert and a little hot tip. Whenever we're in that mode, we want to kind of take a look and say, there might be a little victim creeping in to my decisions or my choices. And PS and FYI, we all have that. We all do that from time to time. So don't beat yourself up over it. All right. Drum roll, please. We are now at our full moon card, and the full moon, I receive. So we're midway through our cycle. We've manifested, we've created the plan, we've acted on it, we've chosen the path, we've committed to a path, and now we're in that space of receiving. And so the full moon is happening May 23rd to 26th. We've got the Tower card. Okay, so everyone freaks out when they get the Tower. What I'm seeing for this May's full moon, and it's a flower full moon, by the way, I'll talk about that in a second. The Tower card is giving us an opportunity to shake things up. Here's why I feel excited about the Tower. I don't always feel excited about the Tower, but I do today. Here's why. We're in May. It's the flower full moon, which means we are in full bloom now. We're kind of in the middle of spring. It's not the beginning of spring. It's the middle of spring. We're in full bloom. It's the opportunity to really be able to evaluate, there's that word again, take a look at the beautiful garden that you have planted. Look at all of the different flowers that you've nurtured and the plants that have come up. It's not seeding anymore. It's not nurturing because the seed hasn't sprouted. It's looking at all the flowering plants, the beautiful colors, and then saying, what more can I add to this? Ooh, this is pretty. Let me take advantage of what this is. We live in a society where society wants us to keep everything this plus this plus this equals this. And don't you dare get creative about it. The Tower says, let's shake that up entirely. And let's make sure that what we are investing in is worthwhile. Let's expand on what has already grown that is catching our attention. And I feel like that's exactly what's going to be coming up in this full moon energy, is this concept or this idea that we are able to choose things that actually light our fire. But in order to do that, sometimes you have to break from the norm. You got to shake the tree and see all of the, maybe the low-hanging fruit falls down. Anything that's rotten or overripe is going to fall to the ground. And I want to say good riddance, because it's going to go into the soil and be recycled into something more practical, more usable. And then whatever is left is really what you want to be working with, because that's still fresh and nutritious, right? It's going to give you the nutrients that you're looking for. It's going to allow you to be able to, I always talk about like pruning back the tree. Sometimes if we prune it back, we think, oh my God, it's going to be ugly. And, what if I cut it back too much? Is it never going to grow back? No, normally it just, flourishes because you've gotten rid of the dead weight. So the Tower is an invitation to shake up the status quo, to shake up what you've been doing for a really long time, and also to evaluate where the beautiful growth is that's happening in your life and what is attracting your attention and drawing your eye. Because whatever you're drawn to is the very thing that you want to put a little more focus, attention, and energy into. That's that new fulfillment. That's that new freedom space. All right, our affirmation for the full moon is, as I align my habits, decisions, and actions with my dreams, my creative ideas become real things. So how perfect is that? We got to shake up the tree, and look, it's mushrooms. Mushrooms grow out of the poop, right? It grows out of the fertilizer. So what did I say? Shake up the tree, get rid of the rotten and the overripe fruit, allow it to be recycled into something new, into something that is more practical. So as I align my habits, decisions, and actions with my dreams, my creative ideas become real things. Don't be afraid to shake up the tree, and then watch what happens as a result. It's not going to be anything bad. And even if we perceive it, if we perceive it to be bad, sometimes when we do ask for something, the universe comes around through the back door that we weren't expecting, and going, oh, wait a second, I didn't think you were going to take that away, or I didn't know that was something that I was going to have to give up. Trust in the process. Understand that everything's crossing your path because it's happening for you and it's necessary. That thing that you might be holding on tightly to, thinking that that's all there is, might be a far cry from what is actually possible and what is your birthright to have. So open to that energy. All right, now we're moving to our Disseminating Moon card. And the Disseminating Moon, or the Waning Crescent, is May 27th through to the 29th. So we're kind of starting to wrap up the end of May, and beautiful. So this is I acknowledge. How best can I honor my gifts and my light during this time? Where can I express gratitude from the heart? We've got 7 of Wands. So we got rid of, we were releasing 6 of Wands, and now we're stepping into the 7 of Wands energy. So this is really important. I'm feeling like this is a particular period of time when we're talking about the I acknowledge. Yes, it's acknowledging all the things that you have. 7 of Wands also is acknowledging how far you've come. Acknowledging that wisdom and knowledge that you have achieved and attained. 7 of Wands also opens people up where they start to see your magic and they start reaching out to you. Oh, here's your magic. Here's your wisdom. Here's where you can, really shine. I'm drawn to that shine and I'd like to know more. So 7 of Wands energy, I feel here, is really an invitation for all of us to really get clear on releasing the self-doubt, putting aside the, I can't even think of the word right now, I'm so in the clouds, but when we can be like, we defer things, or we're in deference to, or we push it to the side, we're dismissive. For example, when someone gives you a compliment, you say, oh, no, that's not true. I look like poop today. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. That's dismissing somebody's, compliment, right? And you're dismissing it because you think you might be humble, or you're feeling insecure about yourself instead of being able to receive. I feel like the 7 of Wands is an invitation to acknowledge your strengths, to acknowledge where others may be seeking you out because there's something that you have that is of value. And that's the big key. I feel like this particular period of time, so we're talking about, again, May 27th through to the 29th, it's going to be a very powerful time where we are all going to be, it's going to be illuminated to us where our strength is. And it's not about our weakness, it's our strength. And why is that? Because when we're talking about Wands energy, it's our passion and our fire. It's the soul speaking to you. And that's what I feel is happening with this 7 of Wands, is it's your soul having a conversation with you. Hey, yeah, you're not exactly where you want to be, but you're not supposed to be there yet. You're still on the path to it, but let's acknowledge where you're at right now and how freaking amazing it is that you're there. It's a time of celebration. I want to say everybody gets to toot their own horns during this period of time. Also, that I acknowledge and how best can I honor my gifts and light during this time. I feel like there's also an energy of stepping outside of yourself and making it an intentional choice to give to somebody else for no other reason than that you are giving. This can be through financial, means, buying somebody a coffee. This can be through a compliment, through acknowledging a good job for someone, people in leadership. I feel like this is something that probably should be done on a regular basis. But if you're someone who, I think of me with the dogs, right? I'm actually not a huge treat giver. I give love, but I don't always give a lot of treats. So as a leader of my pack, this is the message for me in this particular period of time is don't be afraid to dole out the treats a little bit. It doesn't mean you have to be excessive about it. And it certainly doesn't mean you're going to cause any harm by sharing those treats or giving those treats away. So give the treats. I feel like what goes around comes around with that. And not that you're giving treats to get something. I'm just hearing that that's a message that we all need to sort of be in. It's part of the acknowledgement of our own strengths and abilities. It's saying thank you for all of these things and let me pay it forward a little bit. Okay, so now we are just turning I'm old school with my reading here this time. Normally I have it all on my computer. So we're at our third quarter card, the third quarter moon, May 30th to June 2nd. Happy June. And the third quarter is I claim. So after we've acknowledged something, now we get to decide, yes, this is me. Yes, this resonates. Yes, this is something that I made the decision to do or to be or to have. And I'm going to acknowledge that in a public way, or I'm going to acknowledge that fully as my truth and what I'm stepping into. And of course, we've got the Emperor for this. So the Emperor is that divine masculine energy. It's very much the energy of, I don't need your permission to do what I know I need to do. I'm tuned in. I'm tuned into my intuition. I'm also very tuned in to the environment around me and what is required. And thank you so much for your opinion. And your opinion are like a-holes. Everybody's got one, right? That's kind of the energy of the Emperor. And yet the Emperor can rule, I want to say, very benevolently. And the Emperor can also be the a-hole. So what I'm feeling here in this particular third quarter that I claim, you want to borrow some of this energy. If you don't already have a lot of it, you want to borrow this energy and step into that Emperor space and say, you know what? Yeah, I may not have said the right thing at the right time. I may have totally dropped the ball on that particular thing. I own it. And it doesn't make me any less of a person. It doesn't take away my Emperor card. It doesn't take away my ability to be vulnerable and to learn from that experience and to make a different choice next time. And likewise, yeah, I did make that call and we had this huge success as a result of that. Yeah, that was my idea. And look at where it got us and what it brought us. Yeah, I can stand in that. It's not about bragging. It's not about ego. It's about owning the truth. I feel like I'm talking to a lot of people who struggle with value and worth issues right now. I feel like that's what this particular new moon cycle is really working on for a lot of us under the hood, you know, in that subconscious level, is the value and worth piece. Now, I did do a great job with that, and I can toot my own horn because of that. The Emperor would never ask permission to do that. The Emperor wouldn't wait. The Emperor would just be like, of course that happened. I'm awesome and I rock. And even if it went south and it didn't go the way I planned it, I'm still awesome and I rock because I took the risk and I wasn't afraid to be wrong. I wasn't afraid to make a mistake because we can't learn what is going to be the right path or the best thing for us unless we actually throw our hat in the ring. And it's not about perfection. It's about taking that chance, following the intuition, following that gut instinct and saying, I'm going to take action on it. That's what the Emperor card is all about. I love that. Okay, so let's see what our affirmation is with our third quarter. This will be an interesting one because I feel like that message was like, pow, in your face. Also, some work-related stuff. I feel like there are going to be some tensions at work for a lot of us during this particular window of time, May 30th to June 2nd. And what I keep hearing is don't hang on to anything. So don't hang on to the situation. Don't hang on to resentment around it. Don't even hang on to the outcome of it. Just be really present, make your choice, and let it go and let it, sort of let the chips fall where they may. Don't hang on to anything. I feel like there's a lesson in it for all of us around learning how to be in flow, a little more in the flow of things, coming back to that star card, right? One foot on the solid ground and one foot in the water, to bring all of the, as above, so below, and the psychic connecting to what we're bringing into being. If we're hanging on to things too tightly, we can't manifest new things. All right, here's our affirmation. I love my inner beast and we hug until we heal. Love this one. Okay, so this makes a lot of sense. The Emperor card can come across as an inner beast. The Emperor is different than a king. The Emperor rules without, there's no democracy. Not that there's democracy in a kingship either, a kingdom, but there's more, I want to say there are more advisors and there's more political sort of stuff. An Emperor is like, I was born into this, and so I get to do whatever the fark I want. And if I want to be good to my people, I can be. And if I don't want to be, I don't have to be. I have an inner beast. And how do I want to utilize that? So I feel like I love my inner beast, and we hug until we heal is very apropos, because the Emperor can, make decisions on their own behalf and not on behalf of the people that they represent. And maybe it doesn't go so well and they have to heal from that choice, because in the end, they have to live with the fact that, okay, that choice I made from an ego space or from a place of lesser awareness. And now I have that higher awareness or that broader awareness and consciousness. And, when we know better, we do better. So love your inner beast, hug your inner beast, embrace that inner beast without judgment. Come back to that. We got that earlier too, no judgment. So come back to that without judgment, because judgment isn't helping anyone or anything. Judgment holds us back and it holds us stuck in a pattern and cycle. And this cycle, clearly, we're meant to be healing. We're meant to be imagining and expanding outside of our now and what everything looks like right now. All right, now we're at our balsamic moon, and the balsamic moon is happening June 3rd to the 5th. And let's see what this energy is. So the balsamic moon is all about I surrender. I've accepted all these things have happened. I claim it. I own what I've manifested. I'm really looking forward to all of these things that are transpiring, and I surrender to the flow of what is happening. I embrace all that has transpired, knowing that it is for me. It's happening on my behalf. Beautiful. We've got the Two of Cups. So Two of Cups is the soulmate card. It's the union, the pairing, the partnership. It's the duality of life. And it's the symbiotic energy of duality. Dark cannot be dark without light, and light cannot be light without the dark. Without that contrast, we don't have, awareness of the other. So the Two of Cups coming up and this real energy of I surrender, I feel like all of this has sort of transpired this month in order to lead us to this, which is I am you and you are me. We are one. And there's a single flame that now becomes two flames, and it comes back together again, and it's one single flame. So I feel like the Two of Cups is inviting all of us not to have a kumbaya moment, so to speak, although if that's your thing, by all means. But there's almost this energy of recognizing how the opposites in our lives are there as a gift to really bring us that higher conscious awareness of the gift of life itself. And the two feels very much like when we were talking about the star card in the world and the envisioning of things. The two is coming up to say, all right, you created the plan and now something is growing as a result of that. And we need to experience the duality of it so that we can make the decisions around which direction we're actually going to take. This is what we've manifested, but there are still choices to be made along the path of manifestation. There are still, investments to be made. And that's why you can always, when you make a choice, you can always course correct. There's nothing that you can't course correct from. Even those big philosophical things that we can talk about, there's always choice. There's always a way, not around. Sometimes we have to go through the thing that we have to go through, but there's always a way to do over. There's always another option, a next step. And like I like to say, sometimes not doing something is taking action. Silence is an answer sometimes. So the Two of Cups is really bringing a lot of awareness around what is being presented in front of me as a result of the choices that I've made, and what am I seeing and noticing about that? And it's not from a place of judgment, it's from a place of observance. And is this getting me where it is that I want to go? Is this what I actually was looking to, is it the right next step? Is it showing me something or teaching me something about the path? Is it maybe showing me that this path isn't actually going to get me where I want to go? And now's the time to course correct. And don't worry, I just threw out a lot of options out there. And what I really feel is, for those of you who can get lost in that choice and lost in those options, don't worry, the options will be made very clear to you. I feel, again, the universe is really giving us a lot of energy around the clarity. This is this. This is your decision. This is your choice. When we choose a path, the options, all of the superfluous options that can keep us stuck, dissipate. And now we're left with, this option, or this option. So it simplifies things in a pretty big way. All right, and we finally have our dark moon card. And so this is an energetic phase of the moon. It's not a scientific or an official phase of the moon, but it is an energetic phase of the moon, and it is I release. So we had a release card at the beginning, and now we've got this release card at the end of the cycle. And the dark moon, we can think of it like void time. So void, all potentials rest in the void. And potential is nothing without some kind of choice or action or awareness to it. But it all sits in the void. So the dark moon says, what is it that you need to release in order to be able to access the new potentials for your upcoming cycle? Judgment. I love it. Okay. So I just have to point out that we just had the 2 of Cups, and now we've got a 20 in the Judgment, another 2. So 2s back to back. So definitely a lot of that duality experience, but also the Judgment card is, it's a Phoenix card, and it is the Phoenix emerging card. It's the choice to leave the womb and begin the rebirth process. And whenever the Judgment card comes up, it's usually when you are facing the precipice of something and saying, have I learned the lesson fully? Do I need to have one more kick at the can in order to feel like I know what I'm doing, or to feel like I can, let this cycle or pattern go? Or am I so over this pattern and cycle because I've been there, done that, and bought the t-shirt a billion times, I'm ready for something new. Now I commit to that birth canal. I commit to the emergence of this new version of me. And so during this particular time, and this is going to be kind of June 4th, is when this transpires. I feel like while you're experiencing that 2 of Cups and sort of the reflections that you're noticing through others around your choices, you're also going to be very much in that space of, I have a decision to make. Do I feel comfortable? Do I feel confident with what is presenting to me right now? Am I ready to let it go? And PS and FYI, spoiler alert, I'm hearing that yes, everyone is ready to let go. If you think you're not, it's an ego voice saying to you, stop, I'm afraid that you're going to grow and you're going to outgrow me. We don't want to outgrow. No, we do want to outgrow. We don't want to tell ego that we are cutting ego out. It's more about bringing ego into balance, is what I mean. So you're outgrowing that lesser vibrational concept that the ego is holding so tightly to, in lieu of, or in favor of, I should say, the new path, the new version of you. And that's what is coming up in that dark moon, in that void space, is the potential for this new, I just heard the word vexation. That's not even appropriate to what I was just saying, but I'm going to just pass on the word vexation. Many of you may feel very vexed at having to make this choice, or very vexed at what is sort of showing up in your path. You can choose to be vexed, or you can choose, again, to see it as it's happening for a reason. I'm manifesting this over here, and so this is happening. It must be happening because it's going to actually get me to there. So let me expand my mind, expand my limited thoughts, my tunnel vision into the potentials and possibilities of what this can be, because the universe can bring to me so much more than I can even fathom in my own brain and in my own mind. Wow, guys. Holy cannoli. So that is our new moon musings for the May 7th new moon. So excited to have connected with you guys. If you are looking for some community, consider joining my completely free Black Feather community on Mighty Networks. We do all sorts of fun stuff. We do talk about new moon stuff. There's always a sort of a theme for the month. I pull a feather and give you a theme for the month. And the biggest hit, we do a spread your wings challenge as well to keep your sort of spiritual chops in shape. And the biggest event of it all is a free gathering of phoenixes every month, where people of like-minded, like-hearted souls get together and talk all things metaphysical. There's nothing that's not on the table, and we're really developing a very solid, very strong community where there is a lot of support, a lot of love, and a lot of information shared from one another. So would love to have you guys there. Again, completely free. There's no risk to joining. There's no hidden strings attached. So we would love to see you there. Click on the link below. And of course, if you like what you see here, feel free to like, subscribe, and click the bell on that YouTube for all of my content. Take care, guys. Have the most amazing new moon cycle, and we'll see you next time. Ciao.